Awesome. Wonderful. Greetings. Good day. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you are, whenever you watch this episode. Odessa here, Doctorate of Natural Medicine, womb wellness coach, and intuitive medicine coach. And today I wanted to talk about how we process trauma, or the process of internalizing aggressions that we don't even realize are aggressions. And more specifically, for women, and more specifically for birth workers, right? So one of the biggest things that I do hear and see coming up is the experience that women are having when they are observing other women experience trauma. Whether it's something that you are seeing online, whether it's something that you are viewing firsthand in a relationship with two people, or in a hospital setting where a woman is giving birth or she's being attended to, or you're just listening to a story, right? We are listening and we're hearing and we're observing things. And so what happens is, you have to respond, right? And how is your response? You have to be tactful, you have to be respectful, right? You don't want to necessarily shake the boat. You don't want to, ruin anybody's reputation, right? Because these kinds of things, when we look at misogyny, when we look at how violence is perpetuated across different platforms, and how our different movements are being taken, how serious or not serious are being taken, there's a lot to consider, right? And so what does happen is that there's a level of forcefulness or defensiveness that might begin to develop itself because of needing to protect yourself, to guard yourself, to guard your heart. One thing I remember having a conversation about was emotional armoring. And when we are experiencing trauma, when we are not processing issues, experiences, circumstances in a healthy way, different areas of the body are going to respond to that trauma, and we're going to hold on to them, right? And so this is what ensues when we are in the presence of violence. I know for myself, when I've heard tasteless jokes, when I've seen things happen to people, and more specifically for women, as a birth worker, I experience it. On a physical level, I experience it. I have had experiences, with women. The baby is crowning, the baby is ready to give birth, and my body physiologically begins its cycle at the exact same time. Like, I'm talking about responding to women, or like another woman was in the throes of labor and all of these experiences. And I just had the most poignant poetry coming to me. I just wanted to take pictures and write poetry, but I needed to be on point because I'm supporting this woman, right? And so that's just my experience. And I know that there are many others who do feel connected to their clients, who do feel connected to other women, who do have a very empathetic nature towards the humans, towards beings. And so this is important, right? To recognize that, because you're holding in the hurt or the anger or the negative feelings. My body responds to women when they're menstrual. I'm 36 and I no longer have one. You see, this is so interesting, right? Like, our body, like, we are just created in such an interesting way, where we're able to receive and perceive things. So thank you so much for sharing that. Right. And so you're not seeing what you're absorbing, right? Because you're just absorbing it and continuing on. But it's almost as though there's just like a pile of these memories and these experiences that are there in your body, and you're responding to these experiences and you don't even know why. So oftentimes what I have myself have had, right? especially as a birth worker, as a woman in general, but I've tried to have conversations with people. Hey, did you see what happened? Like, I remember being in an environment where I was working in a kitchen, and the chef was sexually harassing the women, and having a conversation, trying to have a conversation with the other people around, because I was completely triggered. And I was like, oh my God, like, what do we do? How do we respond to this? Somebody might move to write it up. You know what I mean? This is a more extreme case, but this is like what we are seeing others experience, you know what I mean? Or someone talking bad, talking disrespectfully to another woman, or your primary caregiver is talking disrespectfully to you, you know what I mean? Or you're just taking all of this in, right? And so you might want to write it up. You might want to, and send it into the College of Doctors. You might want to talk to a friend. You might talk to a therapist. You know what I mean? You might, try to forget what you've experienced. You know what I mean? You may, just try to tough it up, right? As many of us will try to do. You might try to dance or drink it off or travel. Like, we have many different ways of responding based off of what we think and believe our capabilities are, right? And these are some ways of dealing with them, right? The thing about it is that there's still anxiety that's there, right? Because maybe this is the line of work that you're doing, right? You still have friends who are experiencing their own reproductive health issues, or their own, for infertility issues, you know what I mean? Or you yourself still have to, as a birth worker, interface with, you know what I mean, people on an everyday, as well as the institutions and doctors who may or may not agree with what it is that you're experiencing, as doulas, as physiotherapists, as, nurses, as whatever it is that you do, and as just people with wombs, as folks with wombs, right? So let's pay attention to what might still be there. Thanks for that, love. You might be experiencing anxiety, right? Because remember, you've tried to forget about it. You've tried to dance and drink and travel. You've tried to find a friend and talk to a therapist. You've tried to write up about it. You know what I mean? And this is, internalized trauma we're talking about. We're talking about issues that you have observed and seen that have bothered you, that you have not been able to process, and you don't even realize it, but you may not be settled. And so you're experiencing, because you haven't quite nipped it in the bud or dealt with it at the root, you might be experiencing blocked throats, plumpet, as though you want to say something, but you can't. You feel as though there's some words that want to come, but you just can't find them, or they never quite make it up and beyond. You might feel crabby and moody. So how do healthcare workers decompress, absorbing these traumas and being empathetic? Yes, this is where I'm going to get to. Right? You might be experiencing low to no sleep habits, right? You might be experiencing an increase in your symptoms, right? So if you have chronic health issues, you might have like idiopathic symptoms, that they're not necessarily able to trace back to anything, but that you feel off. Your tests don't show that though, right? And you may have lots of distractions, but no real solution to your issues, right? And so this is part of what I've seen, and it's not working. These issues that you're dealing with are the results of your efforts, which are not working, because the problem is still there, right? You can't necessarily say anything anything more. You know what I mean? That communication. How many times do I get on calls with women who cry? There's a lot of tears. It's such an honor to hold space for women to be able to share a glimpse into the frustrations that they are going through as patients, as healthcare workers, as people who stand on the side, as people who are figuring themselves out as womb carriers, egg carriers, females, feminine, however you identify. Um, yeah, giving to others and not being able to fully appreciate who you are and what you have to offer. And so you don't feel appreciated and cared for, and you're not getting anything in return. Please excuse me. I was explaining on my last call before I got on this. I've been doing my vocal exercises, and as I'm moving forward in this work, it's been opening up my sinuses. And so I have what would sound like a cold or a stuffy nose, but it's actually the sinuses opening up from the vibration. So I wanted to say that. You might see me sniffling here and there, right? And so when we're in a position of giving, when we are in a position of being caregivers, and we are constantly bridging people left and right, we tend to look at our own issues as patch jobs. And because we do that, we never quite get the care and the nourishment that we need. And so the gap in the current process, it was interesting because you asked, how do healthcare workers decompress? Self-care is priority. Like, that's the answer. Right? But it's a very nuanced answer. Self-care is a priority. And what do I mean by that? It's really easy to, on your days off, plan your time based around other people's activities, or activities that involve or prioritize other people. When I have conversations with my nurses, it's like, and family and partner and, leisure and, events and all of these different things. And yes, there's so many things that we want to do, because it really depends on, what your schedule is. And I'm talking specifically about nurses. It isn't just nurses, it's birth workers, right? Or people who are doing healthcare. I'm talking more specifically for women, and women who are experiencing chronic health issues. But this work, it goes right across the board. You need to take care of yourself. Like, you need to prioritize it. I know, like, sometimes I feel it's like I've got this torch in my hand, like, come on, you guys, like, get on the self-care, bandwagon. But it's true. It's true, because we will give our time and our energy to other people. And we will also give our care regime to other people and expect them to give back to us. And they'll give to us and we'll feel a little bit replenished, but we won't feel as though we're nourished the way that we should be, because we're too busy giving all the extra time to others, and learning how to apply self-care to yourself. This is what I truly, truly feel, especially as healthcare givers, as healthcare practitioners. You have to be the example. If you're not replenished, if you're not feeling full, what happens is the body begins to recalibrate itself. We know, taking from Peter, robbing from Peter to pay Paul, right? The blood will take from the bone, and the bone will take from this, and everybody's taking from the other to make sure that there's a level of homeostasis. Because why? Because you're burning yourself out to make sure that everyone else is cared for. Right? But you're not taking the time for yourself to make sure that you're okay, but you're telling everyone that they have to take care of themselves. This is a terrible habit that we get into, right? So that's kind of how I'm looking at it, from the perspective of how do healthcare practitioners find the time or find a way. It's like, you really just have to put it in your mind. Like, there is no other way. Your time with other people gets cut down. It gets cut down. And the same thing for not just nurses who have like some of the craziest schedules. I don't even know how they do that. But like I said, birth workers and people in general. especially if you are experiencing microaggressions, especially if you are experiencing, you're observing internalized misogyny, you're experiencing internalized misogyny. Like, it's crucial. I'm telling you, for myself, when it began, it changed my life. I'll be posting further on down the line some of the testimonials from, clients who've gone through the process, who've gone through the program, and they're like, listen, as soon as I gained my time, as soon as I reclaimed my time and established my boundaries, it's a game changer. I will never go back. This is a mother of five, okay? Mother of five with a husband and works as a nurse. And so, like, this is so important. Your self-care is a priority. You need to be the example, because society isn't sympathetic of the pain and the chronic issues and the limps and the aches that you're experiencing when you're on the job. They don't care. Can you see this next person? Can you do this next thing? Can you get to this next place? Can you do this for me? Mom, can you? Dad, can, like, you know what I mean? So I wanted to share this with you, because when we allow ourselves to be taken up with the way society has put us, you know what I mean? Like, when we, absorb information, we absorb experiences, and we continue, along to thug it out, you know what I mean? As we always have, we're not giving ourselves a chance. You're not giving yourself a chance. And so you're carrying over the issues, you're carrying them forward, you're carrying them over, and the stress is affecting you, right? So that's what I wanted to leave you all with. Really take a moment to, like, recalibrate yourself. Like, where am I in this? What is my importance? You know what I mean? The importance of me. What are my values as a womb carrier? What are my values as, someone who wants to be on the journey to health and wellness, who is on the journey to health and wellness, who is actively engaging? Those are three different, levels here. And we can be doing them all at the same time. I know I do, right? But as somebody who is actively engaging, seeking, searching, asking questions, or even just, sitting by the sidelines and observing, how am I processing what I'm seeing, right? Like, what am I doing after this happens? What am I doing while it happens? How it's coming at me? Whoa. How am I preparing myself? How am I responding to it? And what am I doing after to debrief? And how am I viewing self-care? I'm prioritizing that. You know what I mean? Am I taking the time to see people? And am I learning how to truly care for myself? Am I taking that responsibility onto myself? Because it's a combination of the two, right? Like, we can do everything we want and we can manifest everything we want, but you have to be able to do the work. Okay. So that was what I wanted to share with you. If you are interested in learning more about the work that I do, I want to encourage you to sign up for a suitability call. I'm going to send you a womb health assessment. And in this womb health assessment, you're going to be able to answer questions that will give you information about where you are on the journey, right? Like, do you need more support here? I didn't know that I wasn't doing this, or I'm reflecting a little bit more on this. And you are able to grade yourself. You give yourself a grade, and we have a conversation about it before we get on the call, because it's going to help you and I to see where the actual gaps are, because we all have gaps between where you are, where you're going, and where you want to be, right? And so from there, I can have that conversation with you about what services I offer that would be a great fit for you. Right now, we are enrolling people into the Self-Care and Feminine Healing program. I am so excited to be launching this next cohort. And if this is something that you are interested in, you want to learn about how to self-care, about how to heal your womb, about clean eating, about detoxing, about, therapeutic touch, self-care, breast ovary massages, all these wonderful different things, healing from emotional wounds, developing your intuition, all the wonderful, beautiful frameworks that I have spent a lot of time learning so that I can share with you, packaged for you all, I want to invite you, please, please go ahead and sign up for that suitability call so you and I can have that conversation and see where I can be of support. And that is what I wanted to leave you with today. You all be well. I am always filled with joy when I interact with you all, have conversation. And so I will be on again. Today is, I'll be on again. Today is Tuesday, right? So Thursday, I'm going to come back again and share some more with you. Give thanks for that love. Thank you for being here. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Take care. Bye.